The Lakers are sitting on a powder keg of a decision that could either propel them into championship contention or leave them regretting another costly roster mistake. And it all comes down to one injury-prone veteran who's eating up precious salary cap space. Lakers Nation, we need to have a serious conversation about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to address. While everyone's been focused on the flashy moves and headline-grabbing trades, the real issue threatening our championship aspirations might be hiding in plain sight on our bench. We're talking about Maxi Kleber, the 33-year-old German center whose $11 million expiring contract might be the biggest obstacle standing between us and landing the perfect free agent to complete our roster. Here's the brutal reality that Rob Pelinka and the front office are grappling with right now. Despite adding some solid pieces like DeAndre Ayton and Jake LaRavia during the offseason, the Lakers are currently handcuffed by salary cap restrictions that prevent them from making a final move that could transform this team from playoff hopeful to legitimate title contender. And the key to unlocking that potential lies in making the tough decision to move on from Kleber. The financial mathematics are crystal clear, even if they're painful to acknowledge. Because the Lakers used their non-taxpayer mid-level exception to sign Ayton and LaRavia, they're now hard-capped at the first apron. This restriction prevents them from signing a 15th player until January 18th, leaving them with a roster spot that they can't even fill with their current salary structure. It's like having a Ferrari with no gas, all that potential just sitting there, unusable. But here's where it gets really interesting. Al Horford, the veteran big man who could be the missing piece of our championship puzzle, is still sitting there in free agency like a perfectly wrapped present that we can't afford to open. Horford brings exactly what the Lakers desperately need: playoff experience, versatility, leadership, and the ability to stretch the floor while anchoring the defense. At this stage of his career, he's not looking for a massive payday. He wants a ring, and the Lakers could offer him that opportunity if they can clear the necessary cap space. The problem is Maxi Kleber, whose injury history reads like a medical textbook. This is a player who missed the entire second half of last season after joining the Lakers in that blockbuster Luka Doncic trade, and he hasn't played more than 43 games in any of the past 3 regular seasons. We're talking about paying north of $10 million for a player who's more likely to be in the trainer's room than on the basketball court when we need him most. On paper, Kleber represents everything the Lakers theoretically need. He's a stretch big who can space the floor offensively and defend multiple positions when healthy. But that when healthy qualifier has become a massive red flag that the organization can no longer afford to ignore. The Lakers are already committed to 8-figure salaries for Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent next season, both of whom have had their own injury concerns. Adding another injury-prone veteran to that mix isn't just financially irresponsible, it's strategically dangerous. The Lakers have 2 realistic options for moving Kleber's contract. They could package him with draft capital in a trade to a team with cap space, essentially paying another organization to take on his contract and injury risk. Alternatively, they could use a stretch provision to release him and spread his salary over the next 3 seasons, which will provide immediate cap relief while creating a smaller long-term financial obligation. Either path would open up the possibility of signing Horford, who represents everything Kleber was supposed to be, but with a much more reliable health track record. Horford's playoff resume speaks for itself. We're talking about a player who's been to multiple conference finals and NBA finals, who understands what it takes to perform under pressure, and who can provide the veteran leadership that this young Lakers core desperately needs. The timing couldn't be more crucial. Every day that passes with Horford still available is another day that a competitor could swoop in and sign him away. Teams like Miami, Philadelphia, and even dark horse contenders are constantly evaluating their options, and Horford's combination of experience and versatility makes him an attractive target for any team with championship aspirations. But Horford isn't the only option if the Lakers can clear Kleber's salary. Players like Precious Achiuwa and Trey Lyles are also available and could provide valuable depth and versatility. Achiuwa brings youth, athleticism, and defensive versatility, while Lyles offers reliable scoring and veteran leadership. Both would represent significant upgrades over paying $11 million for a player who might not be available when the playoffs arrive. The broader strategic implications extend beyond just this season. The Lakers are in a championship window right now with Anthony Davis in his prime, and LeBron still performing at an elite level. Wasting a year of that window because they couldn't make the tough decision to move on from an injury-prone veteran will be organizational malpractice of the highest order. There's also the roster construction angle to consider. The Lakers currently have excellent depth in the backcourt and on the wings, but they're still vulnerable in the frontcourt behind Anthony Davis. Adding a reliable veteran big man who can play meaningful minutes in the playoffs could be the difference between a second-round exit and a deep postseason run. Kleber, given his injury history, simply can't be counted on to fill that role when it matters most. The psychological impact on the locker room also deserves consideration. Having a player on the roster who's constantly dealing with injury issues can create uncertainty and force other players to take on additional responsibilities they weren't prepared for. Replacing that uncertainty with a proven veteran like Horford will provide stability and confidence throughout the entire rotation. From a coaching perspective, this move would give Darvin Ham, or whoever's coaching this team, much more flexibility with his rotations and game planning. Instead of having to account for Kleber's potential absence in every strategic discussion, the coaching staff could build their systems around players they know will be available when needed. The financial flexibility extends beyond just this season as well. Moving Kleber's expiring contract will provide additional maneuvering room for next offseason, when the Lakers will need to make decisions about several key players and potentially add more talent around their core. Every dollar of cap space could be crucial in those negotiations. The risk of not making this move is significant. If Kleber suffers another injury, which his track record suggests is likely, the Lakers will be left with a massive hole in their rotation and no realistic way to fill it. Meanwhile, Horford or another quality free agent will be playing meaningful minutes for a competitor, potentially helping them advance further in the playoffs than the Lakers. The bottom line is this: championship teams make tough decisions, and this is one of those moments where the Lakers need to prioritize winning over sentiment or sunk costs. Maxi Kleber might be a nice player when healthy, but his injury history makes him a luxury the Lakers simply can't afford. Moving his contract to sign Al Horford or another reliable veteran would represent the kind of bold, win-now move that championship organizations make. What do you think, Lakers Nation? Is it time to cut ties with Kleber and pursue Horford? Or should we stick with what we have and hope for the best? The clock is ticking, and every day of indecision could be the difference between banner number 18 and another disappointing playoff exit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and hit that like button if you agree it's time to make the tough call on Mac.